Hi guys, welcome to Legal Luminaries. Today we're diving into the famous contract law case of Felthouse versus Bindley. I'm your host Ikmal Hijaz, and together with me we have Harendra, we have Akil Wafiq, Ras Aklia, Nur Shamiza, and Amna Hadija. So before we begin, I want to hear a few points from Mr. Akil. Do you know anything about the fact of this case that you want to share with us?
Yes, Hijaz. By the way, I want to thank Hijaz for inviting me. So, Felthouse versus Bindley is a case from 1862 about a dispute over the sale of a horse. Paul Felthouse wrote his nephew John saying, "If I hear no more about him, I consider the horse mine at £30.15."
Oh, okay. So did John respond or react to any of it?
John did not respond, and the horse was mistakenly sold at the auction by Bindley, the auctioneer. Felthouse sued Bindley, claiming the horse was his.
Oh, so from that we can make an issue out of it, right?
Yes, correct, yes. And the main issue was whether there was a valid contract. The court had to decide if John's silence meant he accepted the offer.
So now we know that the issue of this case already, and I'm pretty sure that the court have already made a fair judgment and a fair decision out of this. So for the court decision, I would like to ask Miss Amna, what are the court decision and what did they help about this case?
So, the court ruled that there was no contract. Silence did not count as acceptance. So they said silence cannot amount to acceptance. And also, this case is very important because it shows that acceptance must be clearly communicated for a contract to be valid.
Yeah, I agree with you, exactly. So, Mr. Haran, what does this case teach us about communication in contracts in your point of view?
For me, it's quite simple. It really shows that both parties really need to come to a clear agreement when it comes to these kind of terms. They should stop, just relying on assumptions. And I feel this is good because it protects people from being bound to contracts that they didn't even agree in the first place and don't know anything about. What else can I say? I feel the court's decision is quite good because it really ensures fairness in the transactions by requiring a clear acceptance by both parties. So I feel what the court has done is quite accurate.
Yeah. Good point. So I couldn't agree with you more. So with that, we could say that business must get clear consent to avoid dispute, just like what we have discussed in this case earlier, right? Before we wrap up, let's answer some questions from our listener and viewers out there. So, Miss Aklia, the first question, could John's silence have been acceptance if they had prior understanding?
Good question, Hijaz. If there had been a consistent pattern where John always accepting his uncle's offer without responding, the court might have considered it. But, however, there wasn't such a pattern in this case. So, without a clear pattern, silence alone cannot form a contract.
I see. So, moving on to the last question for Miss Shamiza. How does this ruling affect modern business practices, especially online contracts, in your own words?
Great question, Hijaz. This case reinforces the need for clear, affirmative actions to indicate acceptance, like clicking "I agree" online. And automated systems need to capture explicit acceptance to avoid disputes, and user must actively agree to terms.
Okay, so for our viewers and audience outside there, don't forget to take notes on all the points that we have said earlier, okay? It might be useful to you. So thanks everyone for coming and sharing your own opinions. Felthouse and Bindley is a key case in contract law, as you guys know, and teaching us that silence cannot be taken as acceptance. So that's all for today's episode of Legal Luminaries. We hope you enjoyed this discussion. Join us next time for our next discussion. Until then, stay informed and stay curious. Goodbye. Bye.